All right, so today I'm in the shop and I'm gonna deal with a problem here I've had with this chainsaw for a couple of days now. It started cutting crooked on me about 10 days ago, and as long as you're cutting small stuff, you can get away with it. But any larger logs and anything 10 inches in diameter or larger, it just starts to cut crooked, and it's not the chain. I've checked the chain, and the teeth are sharp. It's not, and if you cut from the bottom going up, it tends to cut straight. So that's a sign. I had a few years and years ago. I had a chainsaw do this, and it took us a while to figure out what it was. But not only do you have to file a chain on a chainsaw, you also have to file the bar. And if you look at this, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not 90 degrees there. It's not square. If I move it around a little bit, I don't know if you can see that. I got my precision square here. Now that's not really easy to detect, but if I go like that, maybe. It's not. This is not working either. So, but basically, what's happened is one side of the metal on this bar, there's just 3 layers of metal sandwiched together. There's a stiffening piece in the middle, and you've got 2 soft, basically soft layers of metal on the outside. So it allows you to address the bar with a file. And you have to take the burrs off. There's a burr on there right now. Eventually that burr will get so big it won't go through wood anymore. So if you find your chainsaw getting stuck in a log, see there's a very big burr on this end down here. You can hear my fingernail catching on it there. That shouldn't happen. So we're going to file that off. And I think if I put it like that, you might be able to see that better. It's on an angle there. And this, as you come down, I'll hear a little more. I think it's on more of an angle right here. That's not 90 degrees. And here. So every third or fourth time you file a saw, you should take the bar off and turn it upside down so that you get more even wear on your bar, because eventually what happens is these two flat little outside layers will wear down to the point where the bar won't be any good anymore. And then if this is the top down here, if that's the top of your bar, and this is to keep this at the bottom, because obviously the writing right now is upside down, so that writing means nothing. If you put that on upside down, someone tells you, oh, you got your bar on upside down because the writing's upside down. Well, you just tell them, well, that's obviously you don't know anything about a chainsaw, because you want even wear. You want to wear out the bottom and the top evenly, just like a tire on a car. You want to rotate all 4 tires to get more even wear on your tires. You can get much more mileage on your vehicle. Well, you can get much more mileage on your chainsaw if you rotate this bar, flip it over, and you got to dress it. And now it's at the point where I've got to file this so that it's flat again, and take the burr off both sides. There's not as much of a burr on the top part, but you see right here there's a burr. There's always a burr coming around there. It spins around the tip, and you use the tip a lot, so there's always a burr right there. So we'll dress that up, and then we'll see if it cuts straight. Okay, I've got it filed down, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but one side has got a lot more file marks than the other side, and actually you can just see half of the side on my side. I can't really point at it because I'm holding the file here to try and allow it to focus on that edge, but you can see half of there. It's the full width of both sides are filed at this end, but back here you can just see half. The other half is actually the first 6 or 8 passes with the file, it wasn't even touching the side on my side. It was shaving off metal off the back side, this back side. And the front side it wasn't touching, so I've got it pretty level now, and I've deburred it. You know, 1 or 2 passes, and it takes the burr right off. So now there's no, my nail doesn't catch there anymore. So all along, I still got to do the bottom edge, this other edge here. So I'll flip it over. Still got the burr there. Yeah, we'll do that next. Okay, I'm all done both sides. This time it took no time at all. I went over, I did a few passes on it because you see there's a groove down the center, and the outside edges were a little higher, a little raised up. So now it's nice and flat. There's no more burr on either side. That's what you want. There's a lot of maintenance to do on a chainsaw. This saw here in particular, I bought it I think 3 years ago. This around this time of year, 3 years ago. So it's cut down a lot of trees. It's done a lot of work. My saws run probably more in 1 year than most residential saws would run in 10, 15, 20 years. We do about, on a slow year we would cut down 200, maybe 200 trees. And on a busy year, much more than that, maybe 300, 400, 500. I've done as many as 500, 600 trees in 1 year. So I don't do as much tree removal as I used to do in the past. Tip's looking good. If you ever jump a chain off on your saw, you see little weld marks here. These little welds. That's what basically holds together these 3 layers. You can see them. I've actually had a guy drop a saw out of this tree, and the saw hit the ground and split the 3 layers of the metal because it bent the bar. And when we were able to fix it, I ground all the welds and welded it back together, but it was never really very good after that. It's just better off to just go buy a new bar. If you ever jump your chain off, what can happen is you can end up with a burr on these drive links. These little tiny drive links. That's the part that goes down in that groove. And if you have a burr on that, it won't want to pass through the bar, the groove on that bar. It will not want to, it'll jam. So you got to get in there and you got to basically turn the chain so that these drive links are out like this. And get a small file in there and file the edges on both sides of that, get that burr back off. And it should slip nice and smoothly through that groove. So that can happen. It'll happen if you have your chain really tight and the chain jumps off. If the chain is loose, you might get lucky and nothing will happen. So as your chain gets loose from use, that it tends to jump off more often. But if you ever jump a chain off when it's really tight, boy, it'll do some damage to your drive links. Almost definitely you'll have some burrs. It could be 1 or even 3 or 4 or 5 in a row that all need to be filed. So keep a lookout. If that happens to you, you'll know what it is. Okay, there we go. It's back together. Just got to tighten it up. The newer saws now, I didn't blow this out. I should have used the compressor and blew all the sawdust out of here, and I didn't bother. But the newer chainsaws now, the adjuster screw for the chain is right here. It's on the side. In the older saws, some of them are on this side of the bar, some are on the other side, the underside, between the motor and the bar. But on the newer saws, most of them are right here. You can see that little screw down in there. It's hard to see. And these nuts are they're locked onto the cover. I used to keep 5 or 6 bar nuts on a wire in my toolbox, and they were always with me because we used to lose more nuts than you can. I go through a dozen a year, maybe, or 2 dozen a year if you're really busy. The vibration of the saw, one would, eventually you'd lose a few. One would fall out. Don't ever try adjusting your chain without loosening these 2 bar nuts. Some saws have one bar nut, some of them have two, some of them have a new type of thing you can hand loosen and tighten. This is a pro saw, so you want about that much tension on your saw. You should be able to pull it out that you can see. The drive link should just about come right out of the, just pulling normally. And if you're working in a lot of brush, small brush and stuff, put your chain really tight. If you're cutting bigger wood, you can keep it a little bit loose. So there we go. We're ready to cut wood. I'll cut until I'm wet, and then I'm packing it in. Thanks for watching, and any questions or comments, don't be shy, leave me a question, and give me a thumbs up. Thank you.